No. No. Too much art. Too little time.
In a world where art goes on sale.
Good. It was just a dream.
Did you dream about another art sale?
Yeah. You were there. You had a giant chainsaw, and you were slashing prices left and right.
Did it include your drawing basics course and my perspective course?
Everything, Marshall. No course or tool was safe.
Stan, that was no dream.
Don't sleep on these deals. Save 20% on all courses and tools during Proko's Black Friday sale. From now until December 4th.
It's so good. It's catching the light on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes
All
me
right.
look better than Hugh Hefner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know how to follow that. So I guess I'm just going to jump into the stream. Stephen Bauman, I'm going to be drawing a portrait today. You can see the model on screen, so you know what it's going to be. This stream is going to be a way to share with you just a few key and very, very easy things that I think you can do to improve your style, like just in your own studio without really adjusting too much your art practice. We're all looking for a way to like kind of constantly improve and become more ourselves. And these three things I think are hands down like the easiest. You barely have to change anything and it makes a meaningful difference. And since this is going to be a 2-hour stream, I'm not going to make you wait 2 hours. I'm not going to tease out 2 hours into making 3 points. So for the first, 10 or 15 minutes, I'll just be sketching and I'm going to be talking about the points, and how I think they apply to your studio practice and how I think they'll make you better. But I want to, like I said, just jump into the drawing and jump into the points that I want to make. One thing about style that I've always found is that the more confident you are in what you're doing, the less you're preoccupied with the technical aspects and the more you can actually just kind of express yourself a bit. Something that's always helped me, 10 times out of 10, focus more on my intent than on the technical things, is to solve the composition beforehand. So the first point I want to make is always do a thumbnail. If you're doing a sketch of somebody or you're doing anything that you're going to put on a piece of paper, take 5 minutes and do a really ugly thumbnail beforehand. Just figure out where you think the value shapes are going to be, where the major groups of halftones are, what's a soft edge and what's a hard edge. Basically try to figure out what the point of your composition is, why you're making this drawing and where you want to direct the viewer's eye. Do this before you sketch and you'll be able to be free while you're drawing to focus on like how cool it can look and not where should this go or what is this value grouping or how do I simplify that. So this is one of my thumbnails. I did it for this stream. And I'm going to go ahead and start the drawing now so I can kind of go through a couple of thoughts about thumbnailing too. Now, when you thumbnail, like it's kind of a, I don't know, like I view it as the way that I think on paper. One of my favorite parts about it is that it does kind of allow me to generate what I think are novel ideas. Like we all have a tendency, especially if you work in as narrow a niche as I do, like in portraiture, to kind of draw the same composition over and over. And, that's kind of fine and fun for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. But I've been in it for like 20 and I kind of feel like eventually I want to know like that I'm covering new ground. By the way, let me say also, after I get done talking about these 3 points that I want to make and kind of telling you why I think they're useful, we're just going to get into like viewer questions. I've got one of Proko's guys on the stream with me, Steven, and he's going to jump in. And so if you leave questions in the chat, he'll call up the good ones. If you leave good questions in the chat, he'll call those up, and eventually I'll get to hear what they are and sort of answer them to the best of my ability. But back to composition and thumbnailing for a moment. Like I said, it's for me, it's like a kind of free creative space, and you can see also how garbage they are. Uh, I kind of think like they should be. They should be garbage because you don't want to kind of fall in love with any part of them. You want to be able to brutally change them as need dictates. So don't make them nicer than this. I see, sometimes when students are starting out, they get really precious in their sketchbooks, and they make these thumbnails that are like prettier than the actual drawings. But like all my thumbnails kind of look like this, they're just really rough ways that I can kind of work out, where the major darks should be, where I want to focus, how to create balance on the canvas, even down to like whether I make this like a landscape or like a portrait format for the head. I usually tend to work on a bounding box about this size, which I've kind of made here a little bit as well. But just to say, like, I love that space now. And it's a thing that I definitely underrated as a student, like for sure I did. It's like, I think I would give myself the excuse by saying, oh, well, I don't have much time with this model because I'm working from life a lot. So, if I waste my time on a thumbnail sketch or whatever, I'm going to lose time with a model, which is like a total nonsense argument, because the reality is that eventually, the time that you spend on that thumbnail is not lost. It's like saving you time in allowing you to not faff about doing your actual drawing. I think wandering around in the dark is probably the least efficient part of drawing, rather than say like doing a thumbnail beforehand. So I'd always put the value on that kind of creative side, which kind of feeds your soul a little bit more in the long run anyway. Right, so this is define the composition, do a thumbnail beforehand. It'll help you not have to focus on the technical things and be able to focus on how cool you can make this look, which is really a creative act. You got to think a lot about it. It doesn't just, I don't think style just arrives. I mean, as you say, all right, yeah, by the way, I just put out a style course on Proko that really outlines in concrete ways and through concrete exercises, like all of my thinking about this. There's a way to kind of analyze and understand like what style is and what it does and how to like actively pursue it, instead of kind of like wandering around in the dark going like, who am I, which is what I did for a lot of years before I figured out what I think is a really meaningful way to study those things. The second thing, now we're going to get to this eventually in this drawing, and I'll show you what I mean when I say this, but when it comes to what's in the picture, I want you to understand that you can be very brutal, right? Martin Scorsese, who, by the way, like if you like composition, just listen to what directors have to say. Directors and cinematographers, people that work in film, are at, in some of the highest level places where you can kind of focus on these things, like what this job is specifically. Like he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but like roughly, your job is to decide what's in the frame as a director, right? And composition is really that. But we can go a step further and say your job also is to decide, of all the available information that you have, available to you in this model's face and in her hair and in the background and so on, do you need to just take all of it? No, I think it's your job to decide what goes in what and what stays out. For me, I've been working with, especially with like drawings of this model in particular, these really high key lights, been kind of blowing out the lights completely. So when you see something like the highlight on the nose, for example, that's not really going to be a part of my drawing, because I know that the key eventually is going to wash all of that out. So I'll have really stark blacks and really stark lights, and it makes a very particular kind of artistic effect. And I would view that very much as a stylistic choice. So choosing the key of your drawing is like a big part of choosing how people are going to react to it, which I think really is what style is about. Like if you think about, the metaphor I like to use a lot is for anybody who's been in like a long-term relationship, right? You've been some arguments with your partner or whatever, and they've inevitably said to you, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. That's style. Style is how you say it. There's the content, and then there's the delivery, right? I'm sure there's more like friendly, fun ways to, to describe style as a sort of means of communication. But like I do think of it like that. It's how you say what you're saying and how you kind of bring that point home. You know, if you're passionate and you want your work to look exciting, you know, you're not going to draw it like some chilled out Bouguereau drawing. Like it should look like heavy metal, you know? So anyway, one way to do that, I say be brutal, but what I'm really saying is just take ownership, right? Of selecting what goes into the frame, what's a part of your drawing and what isn't a part of your drawing. You know, what's a part of your idea and what doesn't matter. Select those things with a strong feeling of like directorial confidence, right? If you just go in and just follow what's in this, the thing I least like to hear from students, oh my goodness, is you'll kind of question something in a picture that they're making and they'll say, oh, well, it was in the photograph, you know, that's how the model was. Well, yeah, I don't care. Nobody viewing the painting is there to like, or the drawing for that matter, is there for what the photograph looked like. They're there for like what your artistic take on it was. And if your artistic take is, oh, that's just what was there. Well, I mean, I wouldn't credit that as a very artistic take. So, you know, take responsibility, be proactive about what goes into your picture and what you leave out. Point number 3, and I'm a huge proponent of this, because I know that it matters so much. Like when you get into drawing, especially drawing, but painting up to a certain point as well. A lot of people, like, they grab their you know, Stadler Lumograph pencil and they work, and that's drawing. Okay, up to a point it is, but when you get deep into the game, you understand like there are tons and tons of materials that you can use. And that is a way that you can create a lot of diversity of mark making, which really, when we say that, we're talking about what is the style? How does the graphite get onto the paper? And how can you make different kinds of marks that are effective and kind of tell a story, right? You know, when I use my 6B Conte graphite stick, you know, it's going to make like a totally different kind of mark than, say, my 0.5 millimeter 4B mechanical pencil, right? But that contrast is something that you can deploy when you're trying to create stylistic differences. So just consider, right, that your material choices. I'm mentioning pencils. Obviously, that's the first port of call. But I mean, down to paper, even like how your paper is stretched, how your paper is toned, whether you're using green tea or black tea to tone it. Like, there's so many different like little permutations, different ways that you can affect, you know, what the look and feel of your artwork is in the end. You know, can be manifested by the material choices that you make. So just don't limit yourself. You know, invest. Like, I have like a standing sort of not order or whatever, because it's just internal. It's just me thinking about me. But if I go into an art store and like I see some drawing implement I haven't seen before, I'm walking out with it. Like, I'm buying it because it might be the coolest thing that I've found in years, or I might never use it. But I don't know that, you know, like, I just know that I want diversity and excitement in my work. And I know that the materials are one way that you can get there. So just to recap really quick, first point, do a thumbnail. You only stand to gain from doing it. It's a great way to kind of get mileage drawing as well. Like, we're all, you know, everybody that starts out, you know, is on that sort of 100 heads kick. Well, I mean, they don't say like how long those heads have to take you. You know what I mean? I think getting mileage with a pencil in your hand is like always a good thing. And thumbnails are a fast way to kind of iterate that are relatively kind of consequence free. So do thumbnails. Second one, be brutal about what you select and what you don't select. I'm leaving out almost all of the halftones in the lights here because I think it's a cool artistic effect, and that's stylistic. And the third thing is, invest in materials. Just give yourself carte blanche to, like, if you see something weird in an art supply store, get it. Chances are it's going to be cool, and it's going to like create an interesting effect that you couldn't make otherwise. Imagine me with my 0.5 millimeter pencil doing this background. What are we talking about? So those are the 3 points. Yeah, like, I don't know. The rest of the stream is just going to be us probably talking about that, riffing on it, and it'll be you guys and girls out there asking me what pencils I'm using, and Steven from Proko jumping in and reminding us of anything that might be important. What do we think? Steven, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to join this thing. Let me see. Let me get myself up in here. So we did have a few questions from the people in the chat. I'm going to cover up this model every once in a while when I pop up, guys. So, yeah, I think that they were super handy tips. People were giving us some questions. So we've got one here from CRS Creates who asked, "Should we have?"
I need a quick breather because actually the Bluetooth to my computer is like acting so funky in my headphones. I'm gonna shut it off and turn it back on and see what happens.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Okay, so for the rest of you guys who aren't Steven, who need to be able to hear me, we're actually going to do a little bit of something a little bit later in this stream, just as a little bit of a teaser. Stick around. You guys will be very interested. Okay, so Steven, you can hear me now?
I can hear you now, and it's not garbled and weird and like you're at the end of a tunnel, so all good.
I'll take it. All right, so CRS Creates in the chat was asking, should we have a sketchbook just for thumbnails and studies?
Oh, bro, let me tell you, like, the joy of like having sketchbooks that are like filled to the brim with like weird junk like this, like nothing makes me happier than like having.
There's that self-portrait one.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some of you saw this on IG, but like these are the first 2 kind of sketches I did for this self-portrait. Actually, no, they weren't. No, the first 2 sketches for that were somewhere else. Crap, I'm not gonna find them. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, those were the first 2 sketches. I started out with this kind of Egon Schiele idea, and then I kind of changed the hand a little bit, and then I eventually figured out like there was this sort of like really awkward pose. I was kind of holding my chin that I thought, yeah, that hits. And then I kind of developed the value idea. But I mean, that's, this should make the thumbnailing process totally open to you when you see how completely non-entity these are.
Yeah,
you don't have to draw well to thumbnail. I mean, it helps to know what drawing concepts are and stuff, but it's not like, my thumbnails like look amazing. They're just like weird little places to kind of exercise ideas and kind of figure out what you feel about something,
Yeah, this is kind of like what you were saying in that tip number 2 of yours, the take ownership of what goes in the frame. This is that stage where you get to rapidly iterate and see what you like and dislike about something.
Exactly.
So
yeah, see what makes you feel something,
Yeah.
I want to feel something, Steven.
If you don't feel anything while you look at the work,
I'm dead inside. I need to feel something.
Okay, so then here we've got one from Fantastic Human that we hang out with every time we go to Lightbox. He asked, in your work and Loganov's, there's a certain texture all over the face, not planes, not edges, but pure energy and texture. Any tips on what you think about drawing that?
I try not to give an S about what I'm doing.
Okay. You can say swears on this stream, Steven.
I can say I don't give a shit.
You can say swears. Stop you're fine.
There's kids out there in Nebraska don't want to hear that. That's
after you've already said it. Oh, I wonder. I'm wondering if I lost Steven. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a little internet performance check on my end, just in case. Let's see. Hop around on Proko. Yeah. So we might have lost Steven. Oh, there we go. You're back.
Am I back?
You're back.
Why was I away?
I don't know. It's because they heard you say the swears.
Yeah, this is when YouTube was listening, man. They're like, this is not a thing.
All right. So yeah.
I was gonna say that like I kind of, if any of you know like my background in training and stuff, like it was in, you know, sort of traditional atelier in Florence. And I mean, it's a great school, you know, like obviously, you know, I learned so much drawing there, but like there was this rigorous atmosphere of kind of logical application. So like as if it didn't make sense, it's like you kind of couldn't do it. But I also find that that is a massive handicap when everything in your work has to make sense, because like so often like a feeling doesn't. So what do? Like how do you live in that world of feeling when you're only responding to kind of rational cues? And so that was like a big problem for me to get over, to be able to kind of draw things, you know, like there was if you look at the cover of the How to Study Style course, right? It's a drawing of this model, great Italian model, Andrea Morani. And
is that the cover of this course? Or is that the cover?
Yeah, like it's the cover image. No?
Oh, when you said this model, I was thinking the one in front of you. Yeah, here,
No,
I'm gonna go ahead and show that on my screen so people have context for it real quick.
Yeah, so if you take a look at that drawing of that model, like there's so much in it that patently does not make sense. Like the values, I'm telling you now, don't make sense. They just don't. I made up tons of things in that drawing, and the drawing was so much better for him. Now, like all, you know, the dissenters in the crowd, which I respect, are going to say, well, you have to learn stuff to know where to. Yeah, well, obviously, but like, let's not forget. Like, it's really easy to forget when you get on that rational learning track that actually, like, things like style don't actually always make sense. Like, I mean, rationally speaking, right? They're things that you feel, and you need a way to. You need like permission almost to like just go with the flow, you know? Like I went and saw. I'm back and forth right now a lot between my friend's place in Long Island and Rome, and I was there in Rome, and there was a show, an Alphonse Mucha show. Everybody knows Mucha. I don't need to. Do we need to talk Mucha?
I mean, you can if you want to. People like it.
Well, he's like what is he?
It's
late
the
19th,
Art
early
Nouveau
20th
guy.
century. Say again?
He's like the Art Nouveau guy. Whenever someone says Art Nouveau
there
to
you go.
they mean him.
This is Proko, like he primes you guys. Like, get right to the point. He's the Art Nouveau guy. I was like talking about the era in which he, like, you know, he's the Art Nouveau guy. That's such like a stand breakdown. I love it. But like I went there, I was drawing this. It's actually, I was doing a lot of drawings of this model lately. And she's got this like sort of long, really like wavy dark hair, which is like, if you draw portraits a lot, you know, is like kind of in some ways like a nightmare, because it's like, how do you simplify that and show what it is? It's like you can simplify it, sure, but like I think you lose a lot of its character if you oversimplify it. So like, where's the middle ground? But I went to see this Mucha show, and like, if you know Mucha, you know, like that line quality, like he just pushes line quality to 10. And what he does with hair is he'll have like really light lines inside the thing, and then like heavy dark lines around the hair. And it's like so effective and so crisp. Walking out of that show, my like enduring feeling was, I have permission. Like he's already, like, you know what I mean? He's crossed that threshold of like, you know, being a bit sort of illustrative or whatever it is, whatever we want to call it. Being a bit out there in terms of how he kind of represents hair. I don't have to like I have permission now to kind of do that. And that's how I kind of felt about it. So I think, you know, a big part of what I wanted to do in the style course is just kind of like give people permission. Like, it's okay to think about this stuff. And once you get past like it being okay, then let's talk about how do we do it, you know?
Yeah, no, this is a great point. I think that a lot of times people wait for the idea of like, it's fine for you to do this thing. Just get in it.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of tips that you would give to a person who is trying to develop that kind of thing? Like, let's say they don't necessarily have the skill to be able to just go and execute on what they see in their mind with this kind of texture, or skipping past what the value structure is in the reference they're looking at. Is there anything that you would recommend for people?
For me, I feel like style always starts with emulation. I remember when I was just a young artist, Stephen, a million years ago. There, like my first work just looked like Egon Schiele, like a bad Egon Schiele copy. Like, if everybody knows who that artist is, like
I cannot show Egon's work on the stream.
No, you can't do Egon. He's a little bit too dicey. But like my work just kind of looked a bit like a not good version of his because I really loved it, and in doing it, I was kind of assimilating what that work was. Now, I was doing that in a very naive way. Like, I didn't have any sense of like what I was assimilating. I didn't understand, like, the way that I propose to study style now is like to develop a style guide. So you actually understand what it is in that artist's work. And not only that, but like, what do you like in it? Because sure, I like Egon Schiele. I don't actually like everything about Egon Schiele. There's some things that I love and some things that I think, I can leave them. So understanding like what it is that you like about the work, I think is huge, but also like being okay with like a kind of emulation. I mean, you can do that in a subtle way just by appreciating it and like trying to do that in your work, or you can do that in a very explicit way by doing like, we call it a master study, but that makes it sound so like faffy, like, oh, yeah. A master. Well, you're just doing a drawing of their drawings or whatever. Like, I think in drawing, I mean, a lot of people, you can say in painting or whatever. But I think it's a way to like truly look at something. If you think about how long, Stephen, the last JPEG online that you feel like you really looked at, how long did you spend looking at it? Like, so the last thing that you saw that you were like, wow, it's the coolest thing I've seen in ages. I'm going to really look at this. How long do you think you looked at that thing?
Well, the last one that I got really jazzed about was probably like a solid like 6 minutes of looking at the thing. Like, I didn't spend a lifetime on it.
All right. Now, let's say you do a drawing. A bare minimum, like, sketch of something that you think is cool. What, 10 minutes? 15 minutes? 12?
Yeah.
I mean, I spent, actually with the master study that we do that I did in the style course, I probably spent about 3 or 4 hours kind of going over every detail of this Grebennikov drawing. Like, that's really looking at something. That's a level of like emulation that I think has legs, that kind of gives you the material that you need to like assimilate what's great about that work, No,
yeah, there's something different between looking at something and just being like, oh, this is cool, and then actually trying to dig in on it. And you can do a different aspect of the work that you're looking at to do a master study of it, or just to recreate the drawing to make it less hoity-toity. But you can do a different aspect of that every time. Let's say you looked at one of Steven's pieces and you're like, this time I want to look at how he uses values and how he's overexposing the highlights, or you can go into it looking to mimic your line quality. You can do a different thing every single time and take a different piece of that away with you. I think that's the thing that people often miss. They think they're supposed to go in there when they do their Sargent studies and just make Sargent's work in its totality. You're probably not gonna the first time.
No, but it's the merit really is in the time that you spend doing the drawing or painting, for that matter, or whatever. It's the time you spend doing that, the time you spend looking, not necessarily like that. If your drawing looks crap at the end, that's fine. It's the 2 hours. That's where you got the value,
Yeah, it's the time you spent studying. All right, so we have one more question from that person who had asked the previous one. They said one more total nerd question, and they said, what color is that Tombow eraser, and how do I get it?
Yeah. So I got all these Tombow erasers that are like super exotic colors. I'll tell you that the only reason I have them is that there's an art supply store in Rome called Poggi that's near the Pantheon, and they, for whatever reason, all their Mono Zero erasers are like mad colors. So
weird.
Yeah. I haven't seen them other places either. So it's kind of like they're just there and not many other places. So
is that an extension of tip number 3? What about the materials?
That's just like, oh my God, Tombow erasers that look cool, I'm in.
Okay.
That's the that's tip number 4.
All right, so let's see here. We've got some others. Trying to find the best one to start off with. Some to really sink your teeth
Something
into.
meaty.
All right, so Mafams 2985 asked, at
Yeah.
what point in your art journey should we start developing our personal style? Is it something we can explore? Is it something we can explore early on? What advice do you have for Mafams 2985?
Dear Mafams, I think that in fact, like, don't we all just do it anyway? You know what I mean? Like, aren't we all just kind of like already there? And I guess what this question about is like kind of permission to do it. You totally have my permission. Let's say this also about the whole kind of student reality. I don't think it's your job to be like the best student ever, like to do everything by the book and to, salute and ask how high when the teacher says jump. I think that you should be voracious. No, you should be voracious in how you intake new things and how open-minded you are. You should be doubtful in how you question all of the things that you find. And I think that eventually you should want to defy all of the lessons that you've learned to like kind of be who you think you really are, like who you need to be to like tell your story. So inside the question, like, when should we do it? Man, do it when you feel it. Like, if you're there and you're feeling that, then be a bad student. And I mean, because I would say it's like a bad student thing. If you wanted real teacher advice, they'd say, oh, well, master the fundamentals and wait for this. And don't, by the way, if you're trying to study style, you're really putting the cart ahead of the horse. And yeah, all right, wow, whatever. We're all artists. So like, let's get real. Like, we want to do that. So if you want to, why wouldn't you? I mean, you can still be drawing and doing things that are fundamental while you're looking at your style. It's not that there's some dichotomy between you can study or you can do your style. No, I think those things are connected, and I wouldn't expect anything like less from an artist than to think that they should be working on their vision or trying to understand their vision at every stage of their career. I mean, I think if you lose focus of that, I think you lose focus on the thing that, makes it worth doing in the first place.
I have a follow-up question to that then.
Yeah, come on.
Do you think that art education has become like over-structured? Do you think it's over-engineered at this point?
I think it's trying to solve a particular kind of problem, and it's getting very good at doing that. I was actually just talking about like kind of ateliers, like if anybody doesn't know, an atelier is just like one of these like proper drawing and painting academies that like teaches you to draw and paint from life and stuff. But like, I think that they need to be like burnt down after a certain period. Like, I don't think that curriculums last 30 years. I think they become concrete and inflexible, and it becomes like the echo of an echo of an echo. And I really love like vital periods of growth where something new is trying to be figured out.
Like you want a curriculum to be like a living document?
Yeah, like I want it to be like generational. You know what I mean? Like when the next generation of teachers takes over, they need to kind of rewrite that a bit, And I don't know that like a lot of institutions really do that, which is why I make this a commentary a little bit about like the nature of institutions, because an institution, they then have like a financial duty to perpetuate, and that means keeping things.
Lost art cam and possibly your mic. If you can still hear me through all of this though, Stephen, I'm going to go ahead and still keep speaking through it all. I put myself up on screen in the meantime. Just so you know, Stephen, you're far from the first person to have technical difficulties this week so far. We do have some things when you come back in, Stephen, talking about the proportions of the art piece that you've made so far. So you're getting your wish here. Let's see. We should have some other questions. Okay, there you go.
Am I focused? No, we're like way
No.
out of focus.
Yeah, I'll have to come back in. Oh, you got help over there. I see other hands. Look
I got
at
a
that.
guy. I got a guy. This is my camera guy. He does the
What-
camera work.
What's the
Oh,
name of
that's
that
good.
camera guy over there?
We got a Steve. We got a Steve in this. Are we
Almost.
focused there?
It can
Do we
be a
feel
little.
focused?
It can be a
No,
little
no,
bit
no.
sharper than it is right now.
Yeah, it's like focused on one side and not on the other. Hang on.
All right, there we go.
You feel good about that?
That looks nice and good.
Does it feel good?
It does.
All right.
It does. All right. So, Steven, do you want the thing that you knew would come up? Do you want proportions talk?
So I don't like Stadler pencils. Wait, what was the
Oh, no,
question?
it's not even that one. No, if you want to talk about Stadlers, I'll go for this though. No, you have some commentary on your proportions versus the model reference. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
right.
bring up the model reference. So Mesley's first comment in the chat was, let me make sure I'm gonna deliver these to you in order
Yeah.
to make sure we really take them down. All right, so Mesley said, I think you made the face too long. Is that intentional?
Yeah. So do you see these lines at like the top and the bottom?
Indeed.
On my paper, those are totally parallel lines. And you see how there's like a diminishing perspective on them on the stream?
Yep.
Well, that's because my camera's coming in at 45 degrees, which means basically everything that looks one way here looks more narrow as you turn it like that. So I would say that more or less, as I look at my source image, if I did a comparative measurement, I'd find that actually the height to width is accurate to the source image. On the stream, it looks skinny. So no, it's not intentional. I like in general. I mean, it's not a part of my style world to interfere too much with like proportionality. I'm not saying that's off the menu for other people, but it's for me, like it's just not a part of my creative vision, to do that. So I tend not to.
Okay, no, that's fair. So yeah, Mesley, not intentional to change anything, and it probably looks solid on his end. I'll try to do a little bit of a perspective warp on my end.
Oh, can you do that? Stop it.
No, sorry. Not inside of the stream. I mean, like in Photoshop to show a person what the actual proportions are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know OBS, which is another streaming software, actually has a like you can do a proportion shift. Whoa.
What you looking
my
for?
Flight to Rome has just been delayed.
Oh. Steven is world traveling right now.
Arrival of aircraft for the previous flight. We sincerely apologize. Oh my God.
How much has it been changed?
So I was supposed to fly at 12:30 and the estimated departure is now 2:45 a.m.
Oh
no. Fun. Wow.
Yeah, Steven is traveling the world right now. That's actually why his live stream isn't set up to where he's got all that other stuff already set up to have that perfect angle on the thing. We're lucky to have him at all. And then Mesley said another thing here. They said the left side of the face is too short and the angle is off. You can see in the reference there is more on the side plane present to the left of the eye.
Well, Mesley, I'll try to be perfect for you. I will. I'll try my best.
Let's see what I can do. Yeah, let me. I'm seeing if I can warp this thing over here to show the thing.
No, you know what? Like, so I used to do like lots of YouTube live streams just because like I was growing my channel. Stephen Bauman Artwork, by the way, and I wasn't able to produce a lot of sort of scripted content and like a lot of like heavy production content for YouTube. So I do a lot of live streams. But I used to this phenomenon where like I'm doing my best, like people really feel the need to like go, your nose looks horrible, it's too long, and really get in their feelings about it. Not that I'm saying that you are, Mesley, but so what I started to do, because I thought, they're going to do it anyway, might as well like do some good for everybody. Yeah, give me the critiques. Tell me what to fix. I'll fix it. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, take them. Yeah, because this is the classic idea, right? Like, even if someone is being a dick in what they say to you, you look to see if there is any sort of valid critique in there.
Yeah.
Because maybe.
Not that Mesley's being that.
No.
They're totally fine, totally
Yeah.
acceptable.
I mean, they even gave follow-ups with specificity, not just saying like looks bad, bro.
There you go.
So
Try
I appreciate
harder.
this. All right, so I think a good thing for us to bring up right now on a question from the chat was Shinas asking, some people say don't use your finger to smudge or fade or blend. Is it true that it's bad?
I would say that you can give those people my personal email address. That's steven@stevenbaumanartwork.com. I'll field all questions about how bad it is to smudge with your fingers.
You just send them your pictures?
Genuinely don't care. I could care less. I couldn't care less. In fact, is what I'm trying to say. No, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I remember hearing that, and for years I didn't do it. And then I started working with all these Russian artists, and they all do it. And I was like, oh, that effect that's been bumming me out that I can't get for the last 10 years. If I just smudge with my finger, I have it. So, like, you tell me I can't do it because of yada yada, man, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that this person is telling me I can't do it, but like I for a long time I labored under the idea that like I shouldn't do that, but I realized that was a very unnecessarily closed door. I don't even really think. I mean, like, what kind of longevity are we talking about? Like, is my drawing going to look a bit yellow in 100 years? Like, I'm not mad about that. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm so lax about that. I don't want to be like, oh, I don't give an S about anything. I care a lot about a lot of things, but I care more about like storytelling, and I care more about style, and I care more about intent than I do about that.
Do you think that what they're saying is to consider the archival quality of your work, or is it more like you might be locking something in where you're not necessarily ready to yet? Like if you start smudging early on, you can't take that back to Paperwhite.
That mentality.
Okay.
I mean, you're right. You're right. By the way, it's a good clarification on your behalf. But like, I have a really big thing about this. And in fact, I think if it does tie in exactly to the style course, I think that as a drafts person, like you need to develop a risk positive mentality. So the idea that you like, oh, you know, don't do this thing because it might ... First of all, do it and find out. Second of all, I don't really care if there's like a bit of like a scuff or a scratch. Like I kind of think that's like a cool. I think about it like an archaeology of your process. Like it kind of shows this labor, you know, in some ways. Like it shows your work, and I think that there's a certain aesthetic value to that. To me, like if you want your drawing to be like pristine, okay, like, you know, I feel for you. First of all, but second of all, like, you know, yeah, then you should like have that risk averse attitude. But I would say be risk. You stand so much more to gain by being risk positive. Okay. Also because the consequences are so like minimal. Oh, my drawing wasn't so cool. It might not have been that cool anyway, you know. But,
yeah, you just made dirty paper and it's fine. Like move on to the next one. Yeah. You're pretty vocal about what you do and do not like in general, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So what is an example of a person who is that kind of like a pristine artist where you see them want to maintain the thing and you like what they do?
Ooh, all right. Someone who's pristine and I like what they do. You know, the funny thing is like there's not a lot of like great sort of artists in history that just drew.
Okay.
You know, it's almost kind of hard to like pick out.
Do you think it's because the materials just didn't last?
Yeah, they were all smudging it with their fingers, so they're all gone. No, I think it's, you know, drawing has been kind of down prioritized historically, both by artists, but also by like art appreciation and art history. It's not really kind of considered. It's funny that it's like so important in the industry and so like kind of dismissed in art history, you know, like it's like we don't get, you know, well, all right, let's see, pristine. I think a lot of places. What do you mean? Like go on Instagram, like everybody's doing these pristine drawings.
Because the person that I thought of as a person who I think has a time intensive kind of process, and then I think comes out with work where they're very careful and meticulous at every step of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is still true of his work, but I was thinking of Dorian Eaton.
Okay.
Because his stuff,
Sure.
he's clearly like, there's no part where he's just like locking this thing in early on. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just as malleable through the whole process.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying you need to tell us right now if you like the work of Dorian Eaton.
I like Dorian and I like his approach. I think the work that we're thinking about when we think about Dorian's work is a lot of like the academic stuff. I think if you follow like his personal work, actually it's quite different.
His stuff is very different. He did a stream where he basically like worked through a thing that he had recently been talking to his like therapist about.
Yeah.
Where he made I believe it was a self-portrait at the time where he was just going slapdash through the thing, making a mess, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some more questions here. Just as an opening one, maybe this connects to Dorian's therapist. Mr. J or MJ Artwork asked, "Hi, Stephen. Do you journal in some form your thoughts not related to art?"
Only when I'm really confused and anxious about something.
Okay.
But the other half of this this sketchbook, oh my goodness, the other half of this sketchbook is me like. So I journaled in a very purposeful way. Like I don't do it just because it's like, like I don't know, like I don't just journal every day out of like some habitual dedication to observing or documenting my life. I look at it more as like a way to audit my thoughts about things. So much like a thumbnail drawing, like in your head, the drawing is going to be great. When you get it on paper, maybe you find out like it's not. And like I think things can sound very convincing in your mind, but then when you like put them out in front of you out in the real world and kind of test them for their veracity, I think you can find out, oh, maybe no, like that doesn't make any sense, or I'm being too harsh about that, or I'm being unnecessarily decisive. So for me, it's just a way to kind of test out what I actually think and see if there's kind of merit in my reflections about whatever the subject is.
Thomas Schmid asked in the question, some artists use structure and rhythms when building heads or figures, but Stephen seems to approach all that and just consider shapes. Why does he choose that approach?
Yeah, I mean, I think shapes are like a really effective way to get stuff on paper. I would just say maybe or suggest to slow roll the idea that it would be just shapes, because though it may look like that, I'm constantly thinking about structure and planes while I'm doing this. I would say probably even more than shapes. I think about the structure of the head. It's just that to manifest that structure, inevitably shapes are going to be the conduit, right? Like, you can't really draw without shapes, exactly. So that's always going to be a part of that,
Okay. There are two questions here that I think might go together.
Okay.
Aladdin in the chat, or Aladdin, not too sure. You tell me. They said, I usually use 8B and nothing else for sketching and drawing. What do you think about using one pen for the whole process? And then Antonio Blanco asked, what do you do with the darkest areas when graphite isn't dark enough?
Deal with it. Life, bro. What are you doing? Life gives you lemons, man. You make lemonade. I think contrast is a lot about key. If you can't make your darks darker, make your lights lighter. That's the only way you're going to get more out of it, like more bang for your buck. I don't think I've ever been necessarily abused to the idea that like it's just a contest to see who can get the most black. I mean, if it was, we'd all just make a pencil out of Vanta Black and be done with it, right? Like, what would be the point in keying things if that was the case? So for me, like, it's always been very much about like, how do you organize the values that you have, rather than simply trying to get to the darkest dark. Another thing, it's small and strategic, but I would say it's meaningful. Try to save your blackest black for just a couple areas. That's gonna feel like it has more depth than if you have blacks everywhere.
Do you think it's because you get that added element where everything else contextually you're thinking that's black, and then you look at that part and you're like, holy s, that's black.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's the idea, is that values exist in a kind of context. That's why many different keys of the same like image could work. Like I could do a version of this drawing where everything's like keyed way down, and like, you know, the lightest thing's that little highlight on the nose, but I'm keying it in the total opposite way, you know. So value is about context, and context is about storytelling. So just get used to the idea that you know, it's not a race to the darkest dark, and that, you know, you can kind of take choices about what to sacrifice. And I mean, like I said in the first three parts of the first three bits of advice in this stream, be brutal about what you accept or what you bring into your drawing. Don't do things just because they're there.
Well said. One other thing that I personally wanted to ask about is you. This is not the same style as the Stephen Bauman who was around for live streams on Proko before, or on your art channel. I would say that you have a drastically different style.
Yeah.
What happened? How did you
Life,
change this?
bro.
Who did
Life.
you learn? Who did you learn this from?
I think that in the best case scenario, like our style reflects our values.
Is that an art joke?
No. It's a very sincere point that I want to make. I mean, it would be decent if it was, but a very sincere point that I want to make about like why we're even here, right? Like, why did I make a style course? Why is there like a massive discourse on the internet about style? Why is it the question that everybody's trying to answer? Well, I think when you spend so much time and care to get good at something, and then to make things in that space, and you end up making things that when you see them outside of you don't reflect how you feel, there's a dissonance that occurs. Is a discomfort. You don't understand why that is. You want the work that you make, which is a communication with the world, to reflect what you actually think and feel. And I think that is the key, or rather the answer to the question, like, why are we all thinking about style? We're thinking about it because it matters. We want to feel heard, and to be able to articulate your vision, your message. You do that through manifesting it on paper in a style. Refresh my mind on the question exactly, because I'm not sure I answered it in that.
No. You answered.
Yeah. So what's up with my style?
Yeah,
you know, why did I end up here?
You went away. You learned some things. I think you went and you studied with some people. You did some world traveling, but that doesn't necessarily inherently modify a person's style so much as sometimes it can change subject matter and what they extract from a reference. But I think stylistically,
go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah.
But for me, like, it was very much like the values in my life changed. Like, things that mattered to me before mattered less to me after, and that's why my style changed, because I feel like my drawing needs to reflect how I feel, and how I feel is more like this.
There was a particular name that you had initially given to the course that is now on Proko for 20% off during the Proko Black Friday sale. It was a different name before.
Yeah, well, when I did it, I first made it for my Patreon subscribers, and I did it under the title Heavy Metal Portrait Drawing, because the course kind of focuses in on one artist called Vasily Gorebenikov, and exactly what makes his drawings what they are. But in deciphering what his drawings are, I realized I was actually making a course about how to study any kind of style, which is basically, how do you extract the meaning from the accumulated work of that artist, and then how do you analyze that for what it's contributing to his message. So you get into things like, you know, line and shape psychology, right? Like, what is shape language? You know, swirly lines versus harsh, jagged lines. They mean something different. And you start analyzing artists' work through that lens, you kind of get a lot closer to why you vibe with their work. So yeah, like it was a kind of journey into that artist world. Also because I've been looking at I mean, he was just to me like the most stellar example of a kind of drawing, a philosophy of drawing that I've been kind of looking into for a lot of years. Kind of centers around a lot of Russian artists and like the kind of Rep and Academy and their approach. And funny enough, you know, I think when I looked at it from the outside, you know, I think a lot of us, you know, probably do something like this. You look at this Russian work and you think, oh, there's just these anatomical phenomenons. They're just steeped in anatomy and they love it to death and they know it. Like I talked with my friend Ivan about it, and he was like, I don't really like anatomy. I just like the kind that's useful, you know? And I was like, wow, you know, because you'd never draw that conclusion from yourself. But like as far as he's concerned, like the anatomy that gets the job done is like the good one. You know, like it's not this sort of, you know, space race to, you know, anatomical greatness.
Can you explain more of what that means?
Go ahead.
Like I want to make sure that I'm getting the totality of what you mean there. Like it's like the anatomy doesn't have to be accurate to the reference, or just find what moves you in that moment while you're looking at somebody and then draw that part out.
I think that you have to make the point in the inverse, really, because what I realized about this sort of St. Petersburg Academy, the Rep and Academy, was that their academic training had a primarily artistic focus, which, okay, let's be clear for a minute. I don't actually think that most Western academies have that.
That's true.
They have an academic approach. They have an approach that wants you to do things that I think they look at in Russia as like pre-academic. So I mean, I didn't study in Russia, but I'm aware of some of the practices of their training. But they have something like before you go to the academy, you go to what they call like a practicum, which is like another studio that's like pre-academy where you do cast drawing and do some figure drawing and portrait and stuff. And you learn all the fundamentals of drawing before you go to art school. And then in art school, you worry about what do you use these things for? What is the artistic expression? And they're able to do that because they have this particular model. In Western art schools, we're just in the practicum. We're just saying, oh, well, you know, learn color theory and learn cast drawing and learn these other things. And they don't really have the space, time-wise, to create programs that focus more on the artwork. So in our typical, like, by the way, typical ateliers in the West are like 3 years, right? So the curriculum kind of goes about 3 years. You don't have time in 3 years to master all that stuff and then think about what are the artistic implications of it. Like you have time to maybe get good at doing the technical things, and that's what we do. So I mean, that eventually is like the big difference for me, and like what fascinated me most when I kind of discovered it, and kind of like what opened my eyes was that, yeah, like it's about the intent, it's about the artwork when you're learning how to like really draw.
Okay. No, I like this. Yeah, especially like you said, there's just like a core fundamental difference for the consideration there.
Oh yeah, it's philosophical.
Yeah. I think you might have kind of answered this a little bit, but A6 in the chat asked, how do you strike a balance between academic art making and your stylistic influence? I've been painting realistic oil portraits to improve technically for a while, and I'm finding it hard to return.
I mean, it's a lifelong journey, man. I don't know that like it would be unfair for me to say that I do strike a balance between it. I think it's kind of the balance is like a pendulum, you know? If I get really into an academic project, I just run with that, you know, and just go all the way in. And be as academic as I can. And then, you know, like right now, I've been in this like 5 or 6 month phase I've just been in this like intense artistic expressive place, and I haven't wanted to be out of it. So that's where my momentum is. So I just try to kind of follow it. Like, there's a kind of thing, it's maybe a bit of a life values thing, and I don't want to get like some, internet grandpa energy here, but like,
No, preach.
What's that?
Preach.
Yeah, exactly. Like in your life, I would say it's important to figure out how to go towards love, towards passion, towards excitement. There's a time for discipline, and that's really useful, and expressing your passion through willpower is not bad in itself. But willpower is finite, and I think love and passion are a bit more infinite. So I'd rather put my stock into that than into willpower. So when I feel it, I go with the feeling. And sometimes that feeling takes me into something deep and academic and intellectual. Like right now, my buddy Steve and I are like focused on making this, making from scratch at the moment, like a drawing and painting app. Just as we feel like there's this sort of gap in the market for like traditional artists who learned to draw and paint the traditional way, like digital tools aren't really speaking to them. Yet they stand to gain so much from using digital tools, so we're trying to like smooth out the transition in between those two things with a very kind of directed application. It's not a passion thing for me. It's a totally intellectual exercise, but there's a time for that,
This is actually kind of following something that Jeff Watts and Stan had mentioned when they did a live stream, like here about 2 weeks ago now. Someone had asked them the question that always ends up coming up, where it's like, do you guys get bored of just drawing the human form all the time? Because they're looking at it as being, they're just drawing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But both of them express this idea that even though they're drawing people, there's always something different there. They're looking at something and then decoding something different each time. And so what they're actually chasing here is the thing that moves them in that particular moment with that reference or that model.
Yeah.
So like you said, it's like chase the thing that is gratifying in that way, rather than just like, I drew an eye, I drew another eye. That's not what that is.
And that it cuts the other way too, because I think when you are a student and you're engaging with these things, it's also your job to find the passion in them. Like there's not like heaps of quotes that I have from my teachers at school. Some of them were really great. It just, it's not everything stands out or sticks with you. But I remember like, in the model room, there'd be like 15 people around the model in like a semicircle, like around the nude, and you'd have to like, you have an order that you get to pick in, a pecking order. And then I think somebody was like complaining or asking the director, Daniel Graves, what is it? I don't know. They were just complaining about, like, oh, they got the last pick, or they got a shitty spot or something. And he said, like, if you look at this pose and you can't find something to get excited about, like that's like a you problem. Like you need to fix that. You need to find the thing to be passionate about.
The kids would say skill issue.
Okay, skill issue. But like I think it's kind of the case too. In this is it's like, yeah, it's not always exciting, but I do think if you're going to be really great at it, like Stan and like Alan, is it Alan? What? No, Jeffrey Watts.
Yeah.
You're gonna find the thing that propels you, and that's the passion, that's the excitement, that's the joy in doing it. Joy will send you so much further than willpower.
Okay, no, I appreciate this. Okay, Steven, I think we're about halfway through this thing, so I want to bring something up.
Let's do it.
That we had talked about beforehand.
Yeah. All
right, so you.
Is it the all cash giveaway that we're doing? The $1,000 cash giveaway that's happening.
I'll tell you what's worth more than
that's
money.
Coming straight from Stan's personal bank account.
There's something that's worth way more than money, Stephen Bauman, and that's education. Okay.
But I want to do money. I want to do.
I'll reach out. I'm gonna go ahead and get
Stay on
Stan's
the phone.
Bitcoin wallet and give everyone a bunch of that.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Steven. Go ahead.
No, so you wanted to do something of a giveaway.
Yeah. So the style course is coming out on Proko. I think it launched like yesterday. I think I enjoy it when people put up with listening to me for as long as these streams go on. And so in the spirit of reciprocity, I'm gonna we're gonna do a giveaway of it was gonna be 2. Let's make it 3 giveaways, literally 3 free giveaways of the course. The only thing that we ask, well, we also need to find a way for you to enter that makes sense and it doesn't create admin for everybody.
This is an easy one. All you got to do for me is so you wanted to do 2 things for this. You want people to give a thumbs up to the stream and then leave a comment after it's over, right? Those are the 2 things that we want from them. So the comment that you leave there can just be what you liked about this stream, just one small thing. It can be fine, like it's something just fine, mediocre comment. But then also leave your name, your handle from Proko, because you'll need to have a Proko account to be able to receive that thing in the first place. So that's what I need from you guys. So
all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Steven was telling me before the stream, I think at the moment you might not be able to leave a comment during the stream. So it'll have to be like when the stream ends. So just either circle back when you have time or stick around till the end, and which we're gonna do. We'll be out in about like another hour, like 50 minutes or so.
Yep. Yeah. So you can still come back around. Let's say you're like, no, I need to go to bed in 10 minutes. That's fine. We don't need to do that right now. We can do it later. So just leave a comment here and let's say the first 5 hours of it being up. Anything after that, I don't want to hold myself liable for going.
Yeah. Just be responsible. Don't make a decision for Steven. Just do it within a reasonable time frame, and then you can expect to potentially get a free course.
Absolutely. But just so people can know, Stephen Bauman, the things that are in your course here, I'm going to show them the how to study style course here. Look at that. With this great drawing. In this course, what's in this course that they would be getting? Tell them what they'll win.
Tell them what they'll win. So the style, how to study style, is a course essentially that looks at the components of artistic expression. So when we appreciate what an artist is doing, it's important that we read the whole picture, but then we understand it as different components. So the active components in this drawing are, for example, values, shape, language, transitional sense, refinement. There's a lot of different criteria by which, or not criteria, sorry, that's the wrong word. There's a lot of different fundamental features of this that contribute to its overall effect. So we dissect or deconstruct all of the features that go into the overall effect, talk about how much that artist uses them or how they use them, and then decide the ones that we want to extract and use for our own work. That's the idea of the course, is helping you find a process that helps you identify what those features are, understand them, and then assimilate them into your own work. Which, like I said, I never finished that story about the my kind of early work or whatever. I was saying that it just looked like an Egon Schiele knockoff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that was me trying my best to kind of understand and assimilate Egon Schiele's work. I mean, it's not a crime to emulate your heroes, but I was doing it in a very unfocused way. And it dawned on me over the years that I did this with a lot of artists, that I went through, passionate excitement about, without consciously focusing on how effective I could be in doing that. The style course is a way to try to give you a shortcut, save you some years, so that you're not sort of unconsciously copying somebody, that you're understanding what they do, applying it in the way that you want to your own work, and moving on to get to that place where your work doesn't look like an Egon Schiele knockoff. It looks like, the passionate expression or excited expression that you have about the subject matter that you choose.
Yeah, no, the learning from somebody else who's already learned, it's just that you're getting the refined thing. It's like you put your soda You put your cup up to the soda fountain, and you didn't get any of the bubbly water. It's all just Dr. Pepper syrup. That's what you're getting here from Stephen Bauman.
You drink Dr. Pepper? Are you a Dr. Pepper drinker?
I'm not a big Dr. Pepper. I don't think I'm a big soda person anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you
No,
a
good
Dr.
for you.
Pepper
Is
person?
are people still drinking soda?
No, all the kids drink the LaCroix, remember?
Right.
Yeah, no, they still want bubbly water, but they don't want it to have any flavor.
Nah, it's not good. It's not good. Listen, guys, if you're out there drinking soda, let's fix that.
Yeah, you could save that money that you would spend on soda and then buy Stephen Bauman's drawing course for 20% off on proko.com/Bauman.
The crazy thing though is it's not even going to save you a lot of money because soda is so cheap, and you got to ask yourself, why is it so cheap?
I live in California.
It's not great.
It's
What's
not
that?
cheap here. They give you an extra tax. They have like a junk.
Oh,
food
do they
tax in
really?
California.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too much now. That's why I stopped.
All right.
No. Yeah. So just as a little bit of something of a primer about what's in this course, you're watching Stephen do a drawing, and we're not really digging in necessarily to how he's like rendering texture, how he's trying to pull out the texture of the hair, or the things that he's really trying to push and pull in that value structure. But in here, you give people this guide that you got from Grebennikov that has you talking about these 9 core principles it's got.
Yeah, in the style guide, so the first part of the course, we do a master study of Vasily Grebennikov's, one of his greatest portraits. And that's a rather extensive exercise in that I'm trying at that point to extract and understand as much as I possibly can about what he was thinking when he was doing this, and doing that by kind of walking a mile in his shoes. At that point, I develop a style guide, and I go through and diagram out really everything that I feel like goes into like the fundamental properties of what makes his work look the way that it's supposed to look. Then we take that into the laboratory. Now, I should clarify what I mean by this. We've all heard of like a sphere exercise, right? We've all been told, to draw a sphere or whatever. The reason that you draw a sphere is because a sphere is like a consistent form, and light also being consistent affects it in a consistent and expectable way. So I've always viewed it as a kind of a laboratory environment, meaning that you draw the sphere not for the sphere, but to understand how light works. I think that style is not so different. If you have a style guide, that you have a consistent set of rules about how a style should work. It made sense to me then that applying that to a sphere, which is consistent, would allow us to expose exactly how much divergence from what we see will have to do to manifest that style. So we go through and we do a heavy metal sphere, a Vasily Grebennikov-esque sphere. After that, then we take that proof and that research into a drawing of a live model, a photograph of a model, and apply those ideas and that philosophy to a much more complex form, which is ultimately what we want to do. We want to be drawing portraits with this beautiful, expressive style.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great breakdown of this thing. Okay. So from the person earlier who had asked the question about your fancy colored erasers, they said, technical question. Instead of using tinted paper, we can tint it ourselves. Is it possible without stretching it on a panel to keep it drum tight? And would you choose ink or watercolor for the tinting? I think you've used coffee even.
Oh yeah, coffee and tea, like all the Russians use. It's funny, I was asking.
Oh, we lost it again. You guys saw him. He's swearing up a storm. Even though you can't hear him right now, he's taking that time to make his swears. Yeah, so we'll get into that question here when he does get to come back. I do genuinely like. There are a lot of times when we'll recommend a course, but not necessarily recommend a course, but we'll talk about a course because a person is doing a live stream with us. But it doesn't necessarily have like this like massive stamp of approval, even though there is a bar minimum for a person putting their course on Proko. But Stephen's courses, it's something that has the eternal Proko stamp forever, regardless of where you do pick that thing up. Like if you go get that on Stephen's Patreon, like you can find over here at patreon.com/Stephen Bauman Artwork. Or if you pick it up on Proko, or you pick up his book, all of these will be gratifying experiences, and we couldn't recommend them more highly. How's
really
that book going over there now that it's out there in the world? What's the response been like?
It's been cool. Yeah. All right. So by the way, I'm back. By the way, I don't know if you caught that. Yeah. All right. Now it's funny, right? So it's always
this is great. I'm so happy. So Dorm X26 asked in the chat, so which medium do you prefer most? Lead, being graphite, I'm assuming, or charcoal? I think that Stephen has been pretty emphatic about his love for graphite over time. It's a thing that he uses. Oh, his voice is back, guys.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so good. I love every single bit of it.
This is the mobile stream studio. Just doing the best we can. All right. That feels like we're back-ish.
Yeah, let me I'm gonna get my eyes in here. That seems tight enough. Yeah, this is good.
Okay. All right, maybe I'll fiddle with the focus a tiny bit, huh?
Let's see. No, there you go.
Yeah, right.
It looks nice and tight. Anyway, so book, and you were saying funny enough before.
So it's like I used to be like a big American football fan. I've switched my allegiance more to like European football. I've been in Europe for like the last 20 years, but there was a saying, I think it might have been like Bill Belichick, who's like the coach of the Patriots, but anyway, it was some like really famous coach. He was saying like, you remember the losses a lot more than you remember the wins. Like I think that like book reviews are like, like you remember the people that said, "You're an idiot. This book sucks," more than you remember the people that say it's wonderful and it's full of wisdom and knowledge and all that stuff. But like, so Amazon reviews. All right, let me tell you something about Amazon reviews. Does anybody care about this? I'm so sorry.
No, this is fine. This is you're seeing the sausage get made here.
So I can't respond to an Amazon review, but like there are people who've given me like a 1-star response because Amazon damaged the book on the way to them.
Yeah.
So they give it a 1-star. I can't do anything I can't send you another book. All you're doing is like giving me a 1-star for something that like I didn't do it. It's not me. Anyway.
Yeah, it sucks. That's like the classic problem that people cite when they sell something on Amazon. When that happens, it's like I didn't do it. And it might not have even been the shipper's fault either.
Yeah. But all right, so the experience of writing the book was like kind of life-changing and really dramatic and really tough. But like on the other side of it, I'm really proud that I kind of put together a synopsis of all the things that I kind of think, feel, and believe about portraiture over the last 20 years. It kind of, when you spend so much time in one field, and you're as opinionated as I am, and you focus on something as much as I do, like you eventually come to this place where you feel like, you want to make something out of it. You want to close, in a way, like close that chapter. And I, looking at it from that perspective, when I look about like where my work is right now, like I think that finishing that book was a big part of bringing my work to where it is. Like it closed that chapter of being as academic as I possibly could be, and took my focus and my attention and my passion more into what it means to be an artist than what it means to like study portraiture per se. So I love the book. I have to say, it's stimulating to write it, even if it's freaking hard to write a book.
Yes. Yeah, no, there's a reason that they have to literally bait people into it by saying, we'll give you money first.
Yeah.
Because nothing else would get you through.
Yeah.
No, so the thing I'm curious about is that there's no single person, any artist that I know of who has seen your book, touched your book, or been in the room with your book that hasn't said that it was like the best art book that they've seen in quite some time.
Oh, that's amazing.
How does that feel?
That feels great. Like, no, and the funny thing about it too is like, so when I wrote it, I was living in Norway at the time, and it's a really kind of isolated experience and isolated life. And I wrote this book and I put it out in the world, and I still was just in Norway. Like I never heard anything from anybody. Like Amazon,
except the people on Amazon.
Like they tore the cover and shipping. This guy sucks. So like whenever I get to hear things that are like actual people that have, when I teach workshops now, like I've been teaching workshops around the world for a little while now again, and that's been so great. And people will like have the book and be like, wow, like this is so awesome, so amazing. And I really like, what's crazy? Somehow in writing it, it never like really occurred to me that like a person would sit down and like read it, like really read the things that I said. Obviously, it's the first thing I should have concluded in writing it.
Book.
But it like when people told me that, I was like, oh my God, really? Like you.
You're like, hold on, you do this with your time? You read the art book?
Yeah, no. So I just thought like every time I hear it, like I'm just so like what you said just now, like I'm totally like moved and humbled and so happy to hear it. Like it's incredibly exciting to know that people are able to kind of get value and also to like experience. I think what was a really big important part of it for me was that I knew that like my experience with art books was kind of twofold, right? Like that, sure, we kind of love to kind of like see the pictures of work and to maybe like kind of read about what's kind of going on there. But there's like also like an aesthetic message in the book. And I wanted like the book itself to like look like please your eyes. I wanted like I spent a long time like in a way on the style guide of that book, trying to figure out like what are the touchstones for like how I make chapters and how I make illustrations and how all these things like fit together. That was like a tremendous amount of effort on my part. And when I hear people say like, it's a beautiful art book, like it's massive for me because I know secretly that I was laser focused on trying to do that. And if some people notice, it means that I got somewhere in the neighborhood of it. So that's really great.
No, you nailed it. I think all of the time and effort that you put into that thing really, really, really shows. It's great to see. The question that we didn't get to finish up from earlier because of the technical hurdle. Ironically, it's a technical question. But yeah, they said instead of using tinted paper, we can tint it ourselves. Is it possible without stretching it on a panel to keep it drum tight? And would you choose ink or watercolor?
I don't actually think it's possible to keep it drum tight. Well, no. Well, all right. So wait a minute.
They're saying could you do it without putting it on something to keep it tight? Could you still tint this thing without that?
Yes, but you're going to be using something else anyway. So what you can do is you can like soak the paper, right? And you can lay it flat on a piece of like a sheet of glass, like a thick sheet of glass. And then you can tone it, and obviously the wetness of the paper helps the ink or whatever kind of tone you use spread evenly instead of making hot spots. But then I've seen that people would like put it in between two sheets of glass and like put it in a shelf to dry out. Now,
does that work? I feel like that would encourage almost mold growth or something in the long term. Interesting.
It was a practice done at the academy, like kind of after my time. So I don't have the most in-depth look on it. I haven't done it myself. But that's the only way I've heard of like toning paper without stretching it in some way over something. I mean, like paper wants to get warped, and if you let it, it will totally do that. So yeah, like some way or other, you're gonna pay the piper on like doing something aqueous on a paper.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, digging through these here. A few different people have started to talk about tools in this. So yeah, first and foremost, let's
like who's a tool? Out there. Like somebody's a tool?
Yeah.
It's so bad. Oh my goodness.
We were just talking about Stan.
Shut down the stream. Shut it down.
No, so first and foremost, let's go ahead and get it out there. What are the tools that you've got handy there that you've been using?
All right, let's talk about them all. This is the only Stadler product I will use. And I use it because Stadler products are so unbelievably hard. Like this is a 2H from Stadler. It's a diamond cutter. Like you can these are the pencils you injure yourself with when you poke yourself. It's the only Stadler pencil I'll use. This is a Pentel 120A3DX. It's a 0.5 millimeter pencil lead mechanical pencil. I love these. They're lightweight for sketching. They make a 0.3, a 0.5, 0.7, and 0.9. I use primarily the 5. I like the 0.3. The 0.7 is a bit silly, and the 0.9 I use for white chalk if I ever use it. You got a Tombow Mono Zero eraser. This is a cylindrical eraser tip. They have a chisel tip that's also really useful, but I like this way better. This is a Conti Aperis graphite stick. They are legit the Vanta Black of the graphite world. Like they just, this is, I don't remember, I think this might even be like a B or an HB. And it's like as dark as most pencils are in like 9B. You get to the 6B in these Conti sticks, and it's like the jet blackest thing I've ever seen. It's a specific thing to Conti formula. And despite me reaching out to them and saying, I'm plugging you guys everywhere, please just assure me that you'll keep making this stuff. Their social media team doesn't get it. Hey, let's...
Do you want...
Can we crowdsource some pressure on Conti Aperis? This is the Proko channel. Like, Proko's got power. You know, I'm just some guy. But I just... What's that?
Like, you're not the person who's got like the most sought after art book in the entire community of people that I know in art right now. Come on now, sir.
I just want pressure. I want pressure on Conti Aperis. I want to know that they're going to continue to make this thing, because it's like kind of scarce to find it. And like whenever I do, I'm telling you right now, I buy all of it. Like I don't like if it's at a shop, it's gone. Like if I walk in there, or I find an online shop that's carrying it, like I'll press add to basket till I can't.
So just to remind people, that's what this is, the Conti Aperis. Which one?
The graphite stick, this one. And this is actually a 3D printed graphite stick holder that my friend David made for me. Huh. But that's the remaining stick. They're really long. The weirdest, this is the one, clip this out for, you know, for TikTok. This is the weirdest shit that I use. I was in Florence and I was working with Ivan Loginov. And he brought me this thing from Russia. I still don't know what it is.
No.
It's squishy. And it kind of acts like an eraser, but it's not. It's like it's almost like a smudge tool in digital painting. Like it kind of like erases some things away, but it creates this like weird sort of inconsistent pattern when it does it. Which is great because in graphite, so much of it ends up being so orderly and kind of organized that you need like ways to get that chaos into it. This is that thing. It's weird and sticky, and he told me it's toxic. So I can't not use it. Like it's so good.
It's just like a Chernobyl goop or something.
Yeah, scraped off the elephant's foot in Chernobyl. Like it's the only place you can get it. No, I don't know what it is. He still hasn't told me. Like I've kind of asked him on a couple of occasions, like, what's the actual thing? He's like, oh, it's great. I'll bring you some more. I'm like, yeah, but like, what is it? Yeah,
it's like, am I in trouble if I take this overseas?
Yeah, exactly. Like if I take it on the airplane, like, can I have this in the cabin, or is it going to get flagged by TSA?
Okay, no, I like this. So you've got your two supplies there that you guys need to find. You need to get this Conti Aperis, this graphite stick, and find Ivan Loginov, shake him down to get his jelly sticks.
Please accost him in public when you meet it. But yeah, like if I'm gonna get more of these jelly sticks somewhere. I absolutely love them. They become integral, and there's only like, and I only have this. It's all I've got.
How long have you been using this one?
Since August.
Is this much smaller than it was in the beginning?
No, I mean it was like about that big. It doesn't really wear down.
Okay.
Like it just.
You're really driving home that it might be from Chernobyl right now.
I don't know how it does what it does, but it kind of does a thing.
Okay.
Oh, and I've got a weird old like manky T-shirt sleeve that a student of mine chopped off and gave me.
Okay. All right. There you go. These are the core art tools.
This is how you become an artist.
What would you say are the things that people shouldn't use that they keep getting told by other people?
Wait a minute. The best material of them all. Listen, people. If your pinky doesn't look like that by the end of the time you're drawing, you haven't been working.
Okay. No, I approve this message. I think the Proko Studio collectively all approves this message.
Nice.
So what are the tools that people are told that they should use that you disagree with wildly?
All right. So one that happens a lot, and I think there's like a weird kind of discrimination about it, is that like when I was at the academy, and I think this exists at a lot of schools. There's some schools that have kind of bucked the trend that I kind of salute them. One of my favorites, by the way, of course, the Lime Academy, and they're in Connecticut, I think. They don't do this. And I mean, I worked with the teachers that run that place, and they're really great people. But there's a thing where you start out drawing in graphite, right? And then once you become kind of proficient in graphite, you're kind of moved on to using charcoal. Now, the idea is that charcoal is like more painterly. It's more like painting. Now, it's true that there's a somewhat expanded value range with charcoal, but I've not experienced on my side a very extensive delta between how painterly graphite can be and how painterly charcoal can be. It's just really about the user, right? Like I would say this is very painterly. This is as painterly, if not more so, than a lot of like charcoal drawings that I see. I don't think that has so much to do with graphite or charcoal. I don't like it because it takes a student who's in the middle of their kind of fundamentals training and like kind of just flips the script on them. Like, okay, now learn how charcoal works. When in fact, like, I just don't think it's necessary. It's not that charcoal's bad. It's just the argument for doing it doesn't make any sense to me. Even if like all of this is just a preparation for paint, I'd still rather you stay with graphite because you know how to use it. Why learn how to use it and then kind of chuck it out as soon as you understand what to do? So that's something that I think a lot of people are kind of pushed into in ateliers, and I think the arguments for it are bad. I'm open to hear more and diverse ones, but I mean, I taught in an atelier for like 12 years, so it's not like kind of sniping from the outside. Like I was in this ecosystem, you know?
Yeah, you're just mad because they didn't hire you. No, you were in the system.
Yeah.
We got one person in the chat here. So this looks like X Krizor. They said Ivan Loganov gifted me one during his workshop. Lucky me. And then someone asked, do you know what the name of it is? And he said, do you know the name of the jelly? I'm so glad that we're just calling it jelly at this point.
I mean, like, I don't even know, forget a name. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't have a bead on like anything about it. Like it's like a substantial goop that I use. And I don't have any insight.
I hope we find out, because he said, sorry, no, he only introduced it to me as you shouldn't put it next to something plastic or something because it's toxic.
That's so wrong. Like, don't go around handing these things to people and then getting them hooked on what it does.
I mean, that's the classic thing, though. The only source for this magic erasing material that you guys like so much is him. So you have to go to him for it. This is perfect.
Yeah. The first one's free.
All right. So we've got a whole bunch of other questions. Do you want to do something of a lightning round?
Yeah, let's do a lightning round. What are we doing on time?
We're at 1:32 so far in minutes. An hour and 32. So, all right. In the chat, someone had asked, how many thumbnails should we do before jumping into the work? Does it depend on the piece's complexity? Is there any value to the idea of iterations?
Oh, totally. Pursuant to that, like a lot of you will have had maybe at some point like the chance to work from life. I like photographs. I like working from life. I love them both. I mean, like to me, if I'm drawing, I'm really happy. But I do find it's more difficult to iterate like different compositions from photographs. It's mostly because I don't know, like I think some other photograph is like rather static, whereas the model, like I can walk around and I can move around and kind of see different views of them. So it's great to have model packs that have like a lot of different photographs. You shouldn't feel like you have to do 4 different iterations of a composition of the same exact pose. I myself find that really challenging. But like as many as possible, really, because it's about, let's just clarify, right? When you're making a composition, I think that it's reasonable to consider that you need to have a goal. A composition is not just a thing. It's not like an inert property that you sprinkle onto a subject. You need composition because you need to show people what you're doing, right? I think that, to me, the coolest thing in this image is this model's eyes. So I want to use all the things that I can, edges, values, textures, refinement. I want to use all that stuff to show you how cool and beautiful and interesting I think these eyes are. That's why, like, eventually when I look at this, I would probably start lightening up some of the value down here, because dark values and strong contrast draw attention. So if I put all of my contrast and all of my values right next to these eyes, guess where you're going to look? You're going to look right there. That is going to pull your attention in. Doing little thumbnails is a way for you to refine, or not even refine, to discover what you think your message is, right? And also then to qualitatively improve the expression of that message. They're not always like fail safes. Like, I've made thumbnails that I thought were good and then drawings that I thought were shit. So it's not like, oh, I did my thumbnail, everything will work out perfect. But it's a great way to kind of engage actively with, like, thinking about your drawing and your message and your art. Doing the drawing itself is great, and it should be something that you, like, feel really passionate, really strong about. And let me say this too: drawing is really hard, and it takes forever. Drawing is really hard, and it takes forever. And we all kind of come up against that moment where you have an opportunity to lose momentum. When that happens, if you don't believe in the meaningfulness of your endeavor, you will quit. Because why would you spend effort and time on something that's incredibly challenging and sometimes doesn't feel like it pays off, if you didn't think there was merit in it, if you didn't think there was value, you didn't believe that there was something about doing it that meant something, right? This is also, I think, what happens in thumbnailing. And I don't want to, actually, I don't give a shit about getting deep. I'll get deep, whatever. I think it's a way to codify and engage with what it is you feel, what makes it an emotional investment for you. And that is what helps you push you over the line when times get hard. You do things, you push through things when you care about them.
Okay, well said. Well said. So, Stephen, we might actually have a name for what this jelly stick is.
All right, come on.
All right, so someone in the chat put forward a thing called formoplast. This thing that I'm.
Oh, I don't like that. That sounds so like they use it to, like, seal boat hulls or something.
I mean, it could be. It's like, like a WD-40 and other things. Or what's Silly String was supposed to be casts, like, in the field for the military.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this thing on screen. Maybe you look and you see if maybe what I'm showing here looks anything like what this does in the raw in the beginning.
Well, this one's a little bit darker. I don't doubt that it could be like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a sort of semi-transparent or semi-opaque sort of block of jelly.
Okay. Yeah, because I was looking the thing up, and it does seem like that there are some that could be that. Like this one, is this more like the color that you remember?
Yeah, there you go. That's a bit darker. A bit more amberish.
Okay, so it might be formoplast, guys. Go out
what,
there.
What is formoplast again?
This actually is intended to be an eraser, interestingly enough. So yeah, it says Valve is the company for this one, it looks like. Formoplast eraser is a soft eraser for graphite and colored pencils. It removes overall tone without disturbing the texture of the shading, absorbs color, and does not damage the... And then I can't load the rest of the description.
Really? Order 10. Order 10.
This says this is 189p Russian monies. So,
okay. It's a Russian. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. We've got that answer. All right. So we went through one question from our lightning round in that 6 minutes.
Great stuff.
All right, so if we want to go through some more, Adore Anami in the chat was saying, I have jawline issues. I spend a lot of resources on getting the jawlines right. Would you recommend just focusing on specific issues or weaknesses, jawline, nose, etc.? Or would you say a person should just try to get the thing overall and not necessarily focus in on one thing at a time?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes we get these like myopic, problems with like focus on what we're doing. If you have a problem with jawlines, beyond drawing jawlines and investing in understanding all the stuff that's there, there's not like a lot to like do about it. I mean, you could like, here's the funny thing too. Like you can know a lot about jawlines and still draw bad jawlines, right? Like it's not, knowledge does not set you free in drawing. Practice sets you free. So if you were looking to solve a particular problem, I would find a way to focus your efforts on generating as many studies of that problem area as possible, as quickly as possible. One of the problems that you have with drawing and learning drawing is that you benefit so much from the experience, but the experience takes time. So you're always looking for ways to like kind of shear off, even minutes that it takes you to like do a proper drawing. That's why kind of drawing fast, I think at a certain point is its own value.
Okay. All right. I hope that helps you guys out there for that one. All right. Oh, actually, I'm curious here. So we're at an angle from the drawing that you're showing right now. So we might not necessarily have the exact same value look that you have.
Yeah.
What is the area that you have saved the darkest?
Oh, look at that. By the way, if I block the light here.
Look at that. There we go. So we can
anyway,
see
go ahead.
Maybe this will be useful for it. What is the area that you saved that darkest dark for in this that you were talking about? Is there an area or is that later?
Here and here.
Okay.
And then I'd probably like eventually I'd go like into the eyes. I'd just take my softest, darkest pencil and match. Like another thing too is you gotta like stop being afraid of pressure and of value. Like there was a question at the beginning of the stream. It was like, oh, what happens if you make a mark and then it's, like stop caring. That's what you need to do. Like you need to stop giving a shit about that, because you're missing out on like a really critical part of drawing, which is that ability to draw a lot of attention through an intense contrast. Right now, like there's other areas that are competing a little bit, but in general, like all my darks are centered around these features that I think I want to bring forward.
Okay. Yeah. So the idea here for keeping those darks all grouped next to each other, was that to reinforce the eyes and the shadow to have them pull your focus straight to them? Or what was the motivation for choosing those? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, you can give yourself, there's a bit of wiggle room in it too. It's not like, oh, you can't use value in it. Like none of these things need to be applied like in an absolute way. I mean, there's a sharp edge here. Like, shouldn't that draw attention away? I mean, I don't know. They're kind of guidelines and best practices. They're not things that you need to, salute and follow like they are mandates from the government,
Okay, more questions. All right, so Dasha in the chat had asked, I struggle doing thumbnails due to a lack of knowledge in composition and imagination. Should I focus on that for a while before doing thumbnails?
Are the thumbnails not the way to focus on that?
I would agree.
Pick up a decent composition book like the one by Cyril Pierce. It's really simple. It's no nonsense, and it kind of like it gets the job done. Like it's the most applicable book on composition that I've seen. Just pick a concept and try to do some thumbnails that contain it. I mean, that would be the way that I would say you'll get the most out of your time studying composition. There are theoretical aspects, but much like anatomy, you need to practice them to see why they exist or like why they matter.
Sorry, I'm over here looking up the composition, that book from Cyril Pierce that you were talking about, so I can put
Oh,
that
he's
on the
good.
screen. Yeah, so this what looks like the book that I find here from Cyril Pierce is Composition and Analysis of the Principles of Pictorial Design for the Use of Students, Art Schools, etc.
He didn't get the memo.
One.
He didn't get the memo about like a 3-word title.
No, Brett. I mean, well, he's got the one, the one right up there up top, and then they really went down. Yeah, so
You should have consulted with Stan on like the simplify your title. Yeah. Wow.
It's like my biggest thing whenever I'm talking to an instructor about a course name, because they'll come with these.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, the one that I always think of. There's the story. Are you familiar with Henry Darger?
No.
He's this outsider artist, and he had this like grand work. He was like he would trace things. He couldn't draw to save his life, basically, but he had all these insane ideas, and so he would work on these stories from tracings, from like photos of people in like the newspaper, off of cereal boxes, whatever. Made some really interesting work and some interesting stories. Super cool story. But the name of his whole book, the whole story that he made, was like the Vivian Girls being a story within the something.
Wow.
And I just,
my guy.
It's just so much title. And
so much title. All the title. That's what.
But I do kind of respect it. Yeah, so it was in the realms of the unreal, the story of the Vivian Girls in what is known as the realms of the unreal of the Glandico-Angolinian war stories caused by the child slave rebellion.
Stop it.
Yeah. But I mean, he's an outsider artist. Like he's a little freak boy just making some stuff in his basement or attic, you know? Like he's not trying to go publish this thing.
Yeah, well, good for him.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so anyway, we've got others here. A crow asked, I did years of gridding portraits, then Loomis, and have done semi-professional work, still learning techniques. Do you think the drawing basics would help someone as an already working student?
Information's good. Practice is better. Of course, you know, like I feel like I've had sort of 3 or 4 drawing educations, and every time I say this, people are like, count them up. I'm just saying, like, I went through an education at the Florence Academy where I learned one way to draw. I studied a lot of Rodin sculpture, which is another way to learn to draw. I studied sculpture itself, which is yet another way to kind of learn to draw. I went, you know, I studied and developed an anatomy course. It's another way to kind of learn. Like each one of these are like their own kind of distinct ways to kind of build up like a visual world and a vocabulary. So I would say that, like, even if you've done a lot of stuff, certainly if you're self-taught, but even if you're educated, you know, at one place, I don't think that means you know how to draw. Like I think that it means you expose yourself to some ideas. Like I think of ideas as these kind of viral properties. Like I want to be exposed to them, especially if I think of the produce of that philosophy is interesting. Okay. So yeah, of course I can help you.
Yeah, like touch the fundamentals every once in a while. It's good. This might connect. So QBizu asked, Stephen, you've said before that you used to skateboard. Visualization of what you'd like to accomplish is a big part of the sport. Does that type of visualization find place in your current workflow?
Let's first of all make a correction.
No,
it's not used to.
I
still skateboard.
Yeah.
I still skate. I was in Rome. I got a deck. I go out on this little island in the Tiber called Tiberina. It's got this beautiful, smooth, polished travertine surface. It's incredible to skate on. When I'm in Rome, I'm there like all the time, shredding out and almost kicking my board out into the river. So first of all, I still skate. Second of all, I think visualization is huge. I think, however, in performance-dependent arenas like skateboarding, where the thing happens and then it's gone, you have to do that visualization in your head. I mean, you can do things like you can kind of you can pop your board in a certain way to try and get the trick to halfway manifest. There's things that you can do, but effectively it's like a mental exercise. In drawing and painting, your visualization process doesn't have to be in the abstract. It can be in the actual. You can make the thing before you make the thing. Be it through thumbnails or like, you know, an artist that maybe, I don't know if everybody knows them anymore because they're so like classical, but Waterhouse, JW Waterhouse, right? It's a kind of, what would be the simplification on Waterhouse?
I don't have one for this one. I'm so sorry.
Well, he's like a 19th century academic who painted like Shakespeare stories and stuff. But he used to do like full scale paintings that were like basically studies for the full scale paintings. Like he would do the thumbnail at the size of the actual painting itself. So there's so many ways that you can kind of visualize, and I believe in it a lot. I think it's such a great way to make sure that what you do matters to you, and make sure that what you're studying and you're saying you're working with is the thing that you like kind of really believe in, or expresses the version of yourself that you think is you know, contains that kernel of the truth that's so important.
Mm-hmm. I brought up some of the work from JW Waterhouse on here for people to see during that.
Yeah, there you go. That's him.
Yeah.
But hey, we're like, listen, I got that hard out. Even though my plane's delayed, I'm gonna have to check in on time.
No, I got you.
So I think I got to run pretty soon. We have time for one more cool question, or do we want to do something else?
Well, here, we'll go out with this one. So Emma Chant in the chat says, "Excuse my bluntness, but interesting that the girl in the photo seems disgusted and angry and about to strike for revenge. But in the artist's eye, that aggression is read as silenced, numb cuteness."
What is there a question in that?
No. You see, Steven, their box had their package had the cover ripped off. No, it's like
numb cuteness.
Do you think that you've chosen to reinterpret what is on the model's face, and do you think that was something with intention? Like, did you?
I'm gonna be forced to make a good answer out of this question
because it's the last one.
Of course, it's intentional. Art is intent. You see what's there on the model and you shape it to suit your vision. In the case that it's perhaps a commissioned portrait done after the death of the subject, that's one of the few times I'd say enforce yourself the least. But if it's the case that you're drawing and painting things that you find interesting and stimulating and that you care about, it's a narrative, it's a story you're telling. Obviously, you draw it and paint it the way that you see it. I just think it's also really funny because I know this model very well. She has like an incredibly strong resting bitch face, which doesn't in any way fit her personality.
Yeah. I have this as well, and I'm generally a pretty positive person. But if you see me at the bus stop, I'm ready to murder someone.
Yeah.
It looks like.
It's misleading. But that's all right. That's the last. We're going to close out on that. I don't know. I had a great time. I hope everybody had a little bit of value out of this. And let's do some reminders.
Absolutely. So for those of you guys in the chat who were here for the time when we mentioned it, we are doing a giveaway of this course. All you got to do is like this video. I'm going to check. I'll know if you liked it or not. So you'll have to like the thing. You'll have to leave a comment after the stream ends. If you are a person who is on Proko, you should leave your name in there and something that you liked or even disliked about the stream. And that way I can go ahead and choose one of those people 3 times over to give them to give them Steven's course. So remember to do that. The other thing is Steven's whole course is on sale right now for 20% off. That's a brand new course of Steven's that we at Proko have chosen to call How to Study Style. But Steven in the past has called it Heavy Metal Drawing?
Heavy Metal Portrait Drawing.
Heavy Metal Portrait Drawing. That was on his Patreon before. If you already have that, don't come and buy it here unless you really want it on Proko. Which, I mean, Steven will take your money twice. But yeah, so go ahead and check that out. It's on sale right now, but you can also get Steven's other courses that are available on Proko. We would appreciate it if you did, because Steven deserves to be paid for the education that he is giving you. If you can't, though, It's okay. Just watch this stream a million times over and give it a thumbs up. Make other YouTube accounts, give it more thumbs up. We appreciate you. You can follow Steven over at this Steven Bauman Artwork online. That is all. That's his Instagram. That is also his YouTube channel. That is a fantastic YouTube channel that you can also visit if you don't have any money. We appreciate you guys. Steven's tips for this one. Remember, always do a thumbnail to find the composition. Tip 2, take ownership of what goes in the frame. Design it. Make it worth it. Don't be precious with it. Cut it out if it's not good. Tip number 3, consider your materials and let them expand your artistic results. Pick up that pencil that you see, that lime green mono zero eraser that you see in the store when you're visiting it in, you said Rome?
Yeah.
All right. Pick that thing up. And most of all, draw something. Make something. Feel something while you're drawing it. And if you don't, figure out why you didn't and make it work.
Booyah. I like it.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll be doing more streams next week. But in the meantime, goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.